Hello everyone and welcome to Off the Beaten Tracks. Today I'm going to do some dollar bin finds. I don't have any luck in the Goodwills. Even the stuff I do find in the Goodwills is more than $1. So if I'm going to brag about anything I've got for a low price, it has to actually be from a record store. That's just the way it is. I am drinking at the moment, so pardon me if I slur around. This is Smoking Loon. It's a California wine, but since I'm in Canada, maybe it should be called Smoking Loony. We'll get to that later. To start out, I was at a business meeting, and I was coming down to Queen Street in Toronto to catch the trolley, a very Toronto thing to do, and there's a record store on Queen called Cops, and outside of Cops, they have dollar bins in those old milk crates. Remember those from the good old days, the milk crates? So I was flipping through in the hot sun and picked up some surprises that, you can't judge everything by its cover or what you expect. Now this, I expected to be trashed. This is a European copy. Generally from this era, I think this is from the late 60s, 68, 69. This is Laurindo Almeida, and this is The Look of Love and the Sound of Laurindo Almeida. And these old European copies were playing on terrible stereos. They just did not have good equipment in those places, and they partied hardy, and they didn't survive, but this one did. This one plays wonderfully. It's on the Capital Rainbow right there. And Laurindo has quite a history. He is a Brazilian guitarist. He was a pioneer of the bossa nova and started his career playing on cruise ships. Saw Django Reinhardt. And that was a lifelong inspiration to him, though there is no Django sound on this particular album. This is one of those cases of a true artist who's trying to remain relevant in the late 60s. You see it with all kinds of people doing light pop hits of the day, and they usually have now exclamation mark next to their name. But this one, he just went and just actually said The Look of Love, which was a big light pop hit of the day. What separates these from a lot of the easy listening albums is the taste and the tone of his guitar playing on this, which is out front, and there's an orchestra in back. Really, really nice sound on this. I've got a blog, and I put up a lot of the albums I digitized, and this one got a lot of hits. So obviously, people know them. Now, from Brazil to Australia, this is the Kinsfolk Up on the Mountain. Now, these guys, again, it's a folk album from, I think, 69. Should be absolutely trashed. The cover, there were several folk albums which I picked up. The covers are in great condition, and the albums inside were in pretty good condition. So there's a few clicks that all came out with my declicking device. This is kind of up-tempo. There's quite a few Christian songs on this, though they do cover Dylan and Donovan. Nice, light stuff. The Christian message doesn't really overpower the material, and I think there are a few originals from, if he's in this band, maybe he isn't, Richard Bigby is credited on a lot of these songs. So worth checking out if you're into that kind of 60s folk, something new. Now this one was a tiny bit of an embarrassment to me when I got home. The Fureys and Davy Arthur, When You Were Sweet 16. This is from 82, and it's on the Arctic label. I have no idea who the Arctic label is. I don't know if I've ever had an album by them. When I looked at the gentlemen in the band on the hot street in the sun by the dollar bins, these guys, I mean, they look for All the World, there they are in a close-up. They look for All the World maybe as either an 80s rock band or more, even more a Holiday Inn band, because some of those guys get record deals. And they are not. These guys have a ton of albums out. I may even have some and have forgotten them. This is Celtic stuff and pretty good. I mean, really enjoyable, good playing. I was wrong about them. Now I know. And by the way, if you want to listen to any of these albums, tracks from them, I'm going to post stuff down below see if you think they're worth more than $1 or perhaps less than $1. Obviously, you can't get much less. And please subscribe. The Minglewood Band, Out on a Limb. This is on the RCA label. This is from '81. Now, these guys, going back to my Canadiana, these guys are from Nova Scotia. Matt Minglewood is the main guy. And he quit the band, or the band dissolved in '86, but Matt is still playing and still recording even today. I didn't like everything off this. It's kind of country rock, blues rock. The blues rock I really liked. There's a couple of songs, especially on the second side. One is Hideaway and another is Nicholson Blues, which are really tasty. So for me, this was a mixed bag, but when it was good, it was really good. And certainly $1. Pick that sucker up, especially if you're like Emma from 8 Vinyl Low. There's some blues on there I think you'd like. Okay, now we're going to another Canadian here. This is Julian, Troiano, and Inner Battles. It's on, I think, the Jet label. It says Jet right over here somewhere. Now, he is the nephew of Dominic Troiano, I'm a huge fan of. Dominic was a blistering guitarist, wonderful songwriter. He was in the James Gang. He was in the Guess Who, put out a number of solo albums. He was the driving force behind Mandala and Bush. This is, as I say, this is a nephew. This is from 2014. This is way different than Dominic. It's not guitar driven. This is kind of, it feels like kind of 1980s perhaps, R&B, pop, kind of groovy. There's a couple of nice tunes on this. When I saw the Troiano name, I was expecting something and got something else. There's an old saying that if you're expecting ice cream, the best tasting fish in the world tastes like poison. This wasn't poison, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. I'm going to have to give this another couple of listens because I'm sure from that pedigree, it's going to be a great album. Speaking of not great albums, this is a band. There's not a lot on the internet about these bands. This was kind of, I think, the cutie female version of Menudo. I think a lot of girls came and went in this band. They put out 3 albums, I think 3. This would be the last one, self-titled, from '82 on the Columbia label. This is corporate rock, synth pop. I think the early stuff they did on the first album was a little more disco-oriented. I think they just got cute girls on the stage to wag their butts, and they probably were good singers. But this is just a totally corporate album. The vinyl sounds great, worth $1. I'm glad I got it. It's $1. Now, this should have been absolutely trashed. This is Trovadores, Jalapeno, de Clemente, Zavaleta, and I'm never going to pronounce this right. The album title is Sones Huasteco. Sorry, I apologize to everybody who speaks Spanish. I do not know. It's on the Metropolitan label. Okay, so number 1, this was in the dollar bins. Number 2, it was outside. Number 3, it's on Metropolitan, a label I've never heard of. Number 4, it had a no inner sleeve. Number 5, the outer sleeve is on cardboard so thin it's practically see-through. And number 6, if you look down here, even, see this white line here? That disappears. It's just white line here, goes here. It's not even pressed. The outer sleeve isn't even pressed very well. I thought this was going to be savaged. But I was so relieved because I love this cover that it plays well, and it was a little clicky here and there, but it all came out with my declicking software, and super glad I got this. It's mostly up-tempo. It's described on Discogs as ranchero music. Latin-based, Mexican music. Really, probably one of those albums you plan a Sunday morning to cheer yourself up after a bad Saturday night. I really like this. Glad I got it for $1. Glad it wasn't what I expected inside. So that's some of the stuff from my dollar bin. I'm going back to my smoking loony now. Why don't you listen to a few of these songs while having a glass of something yourself, a little potation, and I will see you next time.